What up, team? It's your boy Murder Inc. here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and I pushed Platinum Reset, something I haven't done in 6 months, 7 months, a very, very long time. And first thing I want to tell you guys is I do not condone any form of account sharing at all, but I do want to tell you that I have someone that I trust personally with my account, and listen, Platinum Reset is at a terrible time for me. I'm in the East Coast United States. I'm not trying to wake up 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning just to do Platinum Reset. While it is fun, there's no indication that they're going to change the time. So with that being said, I found myself a nice European clanmate of mine who was more than happy to push Platinum on my account each and every single week. And unfortunately, he couldn't this past week, and I wouldn't have even pushed at all. However, it seems as though fate aligned, and I actually got food poisoning the day before, which is terrible if you've ever gotten that before. So I got food poisoning, and I was up for a very long time. I ended up waking up during my nighttime. Then I saw the message, "Hey, I can't push on your account tonight." And I said, you know what? Let me give this a shot. How bad could it be? So I went back into Plat and I give it a shot. Now, it is a lot of fun. One thing I do want to talk about is when you're pushing Platinum Arena, all you really need is repetition. Repetition, understanding, not so much the meta, because that's kind of been the same for a very long time, but the more you know, this is a knowledge-based game. I've told you guys that many times. But with that being said, you don't just forget things. So I want to go over the team I used, what I kind of threw together. I didn't rebuild anybody. I just used what my European friend has used. Now, he did build a new team to use that I elected not to use because I wasn't familiar with it. I stuck with what I was comfortable with, and let me show you the results of my Platinum push here. It may shock some of you, maybe not all of you. So the question is, am I washed up? Am I a terrible player now? How can I not do Platinum Arena for 6 months? I must not know what I'm talking about. I ended up getting 6th place. Now, this isn't really a flex video. I know a lot of people are going to be thinking right now, typical MurderInc coming into a video like this, making us think he did terrible, but that's not really the point. The point is you don't forget things once you've been doing Platinum for a really long time. I'd be surprised if there were a lot of people who are still playing who remember when Platinum first came out. We didn't have these awesome chests at the end. It was literally just you finish and kind of that's it. There was nothing to it. So when you've been doing it for that long, you kind of understand. I mean, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to ride a bike. Yes, there are new metas, reaction gear, but like I said, if you have the knowledge in all of the parts of the game, if you have the skill set and you've pushed Platinum on Reset multiple times, you're not just going to forget. You're still going to perform to your proper levels. So I was actually quite pleased with this. I was thinking to myself, maybe top 15 at best. The fact that I did get number 6 shocked me a little bit. I thought I was going to do, like I said, a little bit worse in the top 15 area, but this was definitely a lot of fun. Enough fun for me to stay up, not a chance. And plus I wouldn't take that joy from my European friend who does enjoy playing on my account. So I do want to show you guys my attack log, my defense log, in case you are someone who's interested in Plat Arena and you want to understand what I did here, how I went across things. So this is the defense log. First, as we can see, this is actually pretty good. So I went 4 wins, 3 losses in the end of, oh, actually, I can't even call it 4 wins. It's 3 wins, really. One of them happened 2 hours before reset. This screenshot was taken around 2 minutes after reset. So as we can see here, I did lose 3 times in the remaining 10 minutes or so. Prior to that, I had a few wins to kind of bump me up through the ladder as I was going through this. So that's the defense log. Typically, your defense log is going to be all losses. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can sneak out a few wins here and there, that it's perfectly fine. But don't take too much discouragement from having a full loss in your defense log. Defense, it matters a little bit. What really matters is you're not getting farmed quickly. As we can see here, I did get hit twice, but I didn't get any repeat hits on myself, which is quite common. If your team takes too long to farm, players are less likely to hit you over and over again. That's the key to a defense. Losing slowly is a much better option than having a fast farm team with the potential to win sometimes. You really have to weigh your options here, and this is what I use to my success here. I'll go over the specific defense that I did use right now. So we did use a nuke hegemon here. Of course, I'll show you the gear as well. but we used Ursuga, and then finally Warlord. I believe it's this Warlord here. This was the team I used. As far as the AI setup that I ran with this team, I'm pretty sure I set this to first here. Ursuga, of course, we have the ally protection first. Hegemon, as always, is going to use the A2 first. And for Warlord, you want to set this as your first choice. This was the defense I ran. So with that being said, I do want to show you the gear I used on the champions. So we said we had Ursuga here. I have deflection gear, which can come in handy if Chimera is trying to sleep you, deflect straight back into him. He's probably going to be wearing immunity gear, so I don't care about that too much. We do have 3 pieces of reaction for Ursuga. Total stats 108,000, 4.5k defense, 193 speed. We don't really care about resistance or accuracy. None of that matters. Speed is important. You don't want them to be like 140 speed. That's too slow. They're not going to get a turn. As far as masteries go, here are the masteries that I did in fact use here. Pretty typical for a tank champion like Ursuga. Now, moving on to the next champion, we have our Nuke Hegemon here. So we got some pretty crazy damage stats. We have I'll point right here. Helm Smasher and the offense tree, because you want a little bit accuracy. Hegemon's been kind of my bread and butter here. It's a little bit different than the best I can do. I did sacrifice quite a lot of crit damage to make sure his crit rate was in fact a little bit higher. What I used to run in the past is 50% crit rate, and if it did proc reaction, all of that good stuff, it still had a high chance of doing a serious amount of damage. So as we can see, I am wearing in the background here Savage and Cruel gear with some pretty crazy stats. 7,200 attack, just under, I'm pretty sure it's 7,300 if you do add the platinum bonus. I'm currently in gold 4. 85% crit rate, 286 crit damage, and 195 accuracy. I would like it to be a little bit higher, but it only asks for so much. My optimal build is, like I said, 55-ish crit rate. I believe I can get up to 318% crit damage, as we can see, haha, right here. Messaging me right now, he's actually the one who plays my account when I told him, hey, don't log on so I can record a video really quick. So quick shout out to him for messaging me during this video. Next we have Warlord, Swift Parry, Speed Gear. All right, bro, relax. Triple reaction on this guy. Okay. Okay. 323 speed, 452 accuracy here, 83,000 health, 2,800 defense. Crit damage, I'm assuming it's from a neck piece or something. As far as his masteries go, we want as much accuracy as we can possibly get with the high speed, and then we did do a hybrid in the defense tree here. I believe that is it. Okay, Duchess. Duchess is the last one we have to talk about for the defense team, so let's get right into that. We have Duchess pin number 1. Going over her masteries, why not? Timely intervention, very strong if a champion dies. Really good boost to her turn meter, and then finally Spirit Haste, a boost to her speed if someone does die as well. Retribution, a no-brainer. Anytime she has an animation, her A1 animation is rather long, so you want to extend that amount of time as long as possible to make sure the defense battle is as slow of a loss as it possibly can be. Once again, Swift Parry, double reaction, don't have the triple on her yet, unfortunately, maybe in the future here. 117,000 health, 3,500 defense, 197 speed, and then the rest doesn't really matter at all. You're really banking on that Swift Parry to proc, because we all know that with kind of low, I mean, I guess her defense isn't that low, but actually this is a lot higher than I remember it being. This is a pretty decent build for sure. She's going to be quite tanky with Swift Parry, double reaction, definitely a problem. You don't want to go too fast with speed, something that a lot of players don't do too well in my opinion. They're stacking, I don't know, 60 to 50 to 70 speed with Swift Parry, and you have to ask yourself why. Because if they're going too quickly, they're not really utilizing the full potential of Swift Parry gear, and it's going to proc, they're going to get a turn really quickly, and then what? The same thing is applied to reaction gear. Now reaction gear, as everyone knows, as soon as you get a turn, it's completely turned off, so even more of a fact for reaction than Swift Parry. Now the only opposite side is you don't want to be too slow either, which makes Swift Parry on a champion kind of strange animal to even approach in the first place. which is why something like Spear Haste is so strong. Because if Swift Parry procs, and let's say it kills 2 champions, you have this, now making sure we get a turn, revive them, get some healing onto Duchess herself, so that is good. However, if you make it too fast, she's just going to burn through her Swift Parry proc too quickly, and it can lead to potential of her not using the proper skill next, and the enemy team going after she's already burned through Swift Parry. So as you can see, it's a little bit complex there, but you really want to build baseline. I usually have around 200 speed or slightly under for all the Swift Parry champions, because that's just the speed that I've personally found that has worked for a long time as far as being in between damage, especially once they get turn meter boosted on their offense team. Now that we went over that, let's head straight into the attack log. This is the most important part of Platinum Arena, hands down, right? So as we can see here, this is what you want to see on an attack log. The one thing I did do a mistake, and this is kind of the main reason why I'm a bit rusty for this. I think I could have scored and ranked a little bit higher, maybe 3rd place, 2nd place, probably not 1st place, but 2nd or 3rd for sure if I did attack quicker. Now, you want 100% win rate no matter what on offense. And what team did I use? I used Old Faithful, and that's what I used. And I'll show you the team in a second, but this is what you want all of your attack logs to look like, except you want more attacks. Ideally, you want to be attacking once every 1.5 to 2 minutes minimum. That should be the minimum. 1 attack per 2 minutes is like bare minimum, assuming you're always attacking the most points on the page. As we can see here, +9, +10, +10, +11, +11. You don't see +5, you don't see +6s, because you have to think about in your head how much time it's going to take to get a +5, how much time it's going to take to get a +10 or 11, and really evaluate from there, because you do have to be constantly scoring points and thinking about that in your head. One thing I never do is I never check the ranking, which is why I had really no idea where I was going to place at the end of this, but I knew it was going to be a bit decent because I did check my defense team once, just I think 5 minutes left or something, and I noticed I wasn't getting hit crazy often, because the team, when you do look at my defense, it does look pretty annoying, and if there are better teams around me, they're going to be the optimal targets for anyone trying to target me. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go over the offense team that I use most of the time. Actually, not most of the time, all of the time. The reason why I say that is because I don't change the champions, but I change the auras. Whenever I face a warlord team, of course I have resistance in the aura slot here for more resistance on my team. I do have resistance Kymar here. Why do we use resistance Kymar? Because you want to resist warlord's lockout cooldown. I don't care about being faster. The passive with Rhodos and Sifi, we all know how broken that is. So with that being said, I cannot worry about immunity gear on my damage dealing champions, which is going to be key here. However, if we are fighting a pure tank team, I'm going to swap the Kymar to the 1st slot and the Sifi to the 2nd to get more speed, to make sure they're not just lapping me over and over again. That would in fact be a nightmare. I can't show you a test sample here. Yes, my points are low, but I haven't refreshed in a long time, so these teams should be pretty decent. Okay, we do want to find a tanky team. This actually is a perfect team right here. So what I want to show you is kind of how this team works here. As mentioned before, we don't care about resistance at all. There's no warlord, there's no threat of any type of debuff. So let's get right into this and see what we can get going on here. We'll take it off auto, and it looks like I ended up going 1st here. Of course, they have no turn meter booster, so I'm not going to boost the team. We know how Valkyrie works. I'll go ahead and A1 Valkyrie. She slept. We have the ally attack here. Now let's try to sleep who we can. Pretty much a resist on everyone. They die. The first person I'm going to want to kill is going to be Cardio, to get him out of the way. Now he goes again. Let's go for Vogoth. Easy. Now we have increased damage, and I'll show you the masteries in a second if there's a sleep, which does in fact come in handy. Now we have this annoying guy called Mountain King for any Rhodos team. I'm pretty sure we all know that, so we'll just let this run, see how we do here. Hopefully we don't get soloed by a Mountain King. Doesn't look very likely. As you can see, the strong synergy with Kymar and Rhodos. He resets that A3 cooldown, which is so good when you're fighting really tanky teams. That you often do find teams like this on Platinum Reset. Not the exact team. I don't really see Vogoth too often, but Warlords are very common. Necrit, all of those champions get absolutely shredded by the team I'm running right here. That's why I referred to this as Old Faithful earlier, because it doesn't lose to any team. Now the wins might not be crazy fast like some of my clanmates doing 30-second farms. I'm not doing that, but I'm never losing, and there's never a chance of losing either, which is the key here. So with that being said, let's go over the gear I have on that offense team since it is the same champions. Okay, first we're going to start with, I believe it's this Sifi, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, okay, so we have the shield set Sifi here to block any incoming damage, making sure if there's a double hitter, Rotos isn't dying. That's the key there. Resistance 309, not too crazy. Yes, it's 389 with the aura, but it's really not going to block anybody. 313 speed, 78k health, probably 79k. Low defense. None of this really matters too much. We just want to make sure her A1 is really important here, as well as the turn meter boost and the revive. Moving on to, I believe, what's it, Kymar? No, Rotos is going to appear first. So we have our trusty damage dealing Rotos here. Reaction, not because reaction is good, just because of the stats you're going to see on the top here. Triple roll attack, how can I pass on that? So total stats here, we have 42,000 health, 5.6 thousand attack, 210 speed. Speed is pretty key with this comp. 100% crit rate, 248 crit damage, a little bit on the lower side, but we're not too worried about that. I also do have a revenge accessory, and there are the obvious benefits to that. As far as masteries go, this is what I'm talking about here. I don't believe this one has opportunist. However, I think, let me just make sure. Let's go to number 2. Okay, none of them have opportunist. Maybe it's the third one that has it. Okay, so I'm crazy. Maybe it was changed. I'm 99% sure this was taken before to synergize with the sleep, but it looks like the person that normally plays for me did change this, and I wasn't really aware of that. So moving on to the next Rotos I do have, we have 6.1 thousand attack, 243 crit damage, 193 speed, a little bit slower than the last one, 30,000 health, a little bit lower than I would like, because as we all know, Rotos does in fact scale off of HP and health, and the HP scales pretty well with that A2 ability, giving you all of that extra damage on top. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So the only other kind of tip I would give anyone if they do have this team comp is never open with the A3 unless you're very confident they don't have reaction. If you're burning this A3 into someone with reaction, it's just not worth the gamble. Start with that A2 ability, because if it doesn't crit, it's fine. You will still get to use the A2, get an extra turn, lowering this cooldown enough so it's going to work out and everything is going to be all right. And the next thing is, if you have to finish off a champion, always use that A1 ability for that 25% chance of the extra turn. Never use this A3 here unless you're fairly confident there's going to be swift parry, and swift parry can really mess up your team. That's rarely going to be the case. You're almost always going to use the A1 ability, but it should be something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, moving on to Kymar here. I don't recall which one we use. Maybe this one, or maybe, okay, it's definitely not that one. I believe it is this one here. This is the resistance Kymar. We have 664 resistance, 232 speed, 49,000 health, 2.5 thousand defense, and like I said, 231 speed, no crit rate, accuracy 245, a little bit low, but it's the best we could do. And so all of that resistance plus the resistance aura. Of course, this is also in immunity gear, making this much harder to gear. If I wasn't lazy and a bum, I would be doing Doom Tower, getting the better immunity gear that gives resistance, and I could definitely have this guy at, I don't know, what do you get, 40 extra, so 700 sheet or base, I guess, resistance, which is crazy, by the way. In immunity gear, maybe I can make him faster, more accuracy, so that set would be very strong. Of course, I am using 2 rare pieces that can definitely be improved as well, but for masteries, this is the ultimate kind of counter to any warlord team, assuming that lockout doesn't come through and hit Prince Kymar, which 3% chance can happen. It's not the end of the world if it does. Rotos has his ways of getting extra turns. Sifi's A1 is very strong as well, so if they do get completely locked out, it's not a huge deal, but it is still kind of a big deal. Anyways, these are the masteries for this guy. So that pretty much sums up my video here. What I wanted to explain to you guys how all of this works. And like I said before, this isn't really a flex video. This is me simply going through what I need to and kind of driving home the point that no matter how long of a break you take, you don't lose the knowledge you need to push in Platinum Arena. The same thing applies for pushing any type of new PvE content. If something comes out like a new Doom Tower cycle, you cannot have played for 3 months and been a top theory crafter in the game. You can jump right back into the game and theory craft the best team for every single person for that new content, because you just have a system down and it's not something you'll ever forget. All right, guys, how did you guys do? Do you push for Platinum Arena? Do you not care at all? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about my spur of the moment platinum push? I think I did pretty well. Were you expecting me to get this score? Were you expecting me to be in gold for? Let me know what you guys think. As always, if you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.